Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bear in Mind. It has been quite some time since we've recorded anything, and I'll be honest, it might be quite some time after this. But we are here for a big bumper train of thought about what we've enjoyed lately.
Yes, has been quite a bit. Has been quite a bit of time. So that sort of
In the time,
explains
for
why.
instance,
Yeah.
I have been up to
Yeah.
that Newcastle.
He has, yes. James has experienced the North. I even managed
I
to
live
get
in the
into.
north, the low north, but it's still the north.
No, James, you live in the Midlands. Crewe is so far,
Then,
so close to that Staffordshire border.
then you
That
live in the Midlands as well. The only north is Scotland.
all right, okay, I'll take that. Yeah,
All of England that isn't the south is the
yeah,
Midlands.
I'll take that. Fair enough. Like,
And Wales.
but in that case, if we're gonna say that, then anything south of Manchester is the south.
God damn it.
Yeah, because if we're going to divide things up geographically like that, so that Scotland's the only north, I think that's fair.
No, I still say south is still where it is now, just
No,
south
I'll,
of.
I'll allow Manchester into the north, even though Manchester is just London with gravy. Confirmed that the other week. Went to Manchester for the first time in a while. Yeah, it's very much London now. Like
I disagree.
London with whippets, that sort of thing.
I disagree.
Like,
It has
yeah.
more. It has. I still think it has more personality.
Yeah. I mean, it does have more personality. London's just like cardboard people walking around full of hatred.
That's not fair.
Like,
I reckon if we weren't tourists
Right.
in London, London as a city probably has plenty of personality. Like I
Yeah.
read a lot of London food writers, and it does feel like a city you just got to step off the track that me and you would likely be on if we were in London. Speaking of, I
London.
did have a great
Go on.
idea for a show.
Aye, go on.
I've still got to ask him,
Hmm.
so I haven't suggested this to the other party at all yet.
Yeah.
But if me, you, and Rai can align a holiday next year,
Yeah.
we all fly to Berlin
Yeah.
and we record a Bears Discover Food in Berlin episode.
A Berlin mind.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
we have we have a city break where
Now you say fly. Let's just drive.
we can do that as well.
Yeah.
But we need more
Easy
time
enough.
off if we're doing that,
Why? It's only an 18-hour drive.
and it's like a 2-hour flight.
Yeah. Who wants to fly?
I mean, I reckon if we employ the powers of your father,
Yeah.
we could probably fly the cheaper than we could drive.
I can get to Berlin in a single tank of fuel, James.
Fine, I guess we're driving. I guess plenty of places to stop off to eat along the way and film that as well.
Loads.
I just thought it could be cool. Obviously, it requires a lot of actual logistical organising, but so
I mean,
don't take this as a promise. This episode will ever exist, guys.
because I still need to renew my passport. Get one of those lovely gammon flavoured blue ones.
I had to renew mine last year for ID purposes
God.
because apparently to do a lot of things, driving license alone is not a good enough ID. You need a pair of the two.
Which is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when we had that chance to get the national ID card, like we went no.
I
we
also
shouldn't
agree
have it.
no because it will lead to voter suppression. But
Under the Tory government, yes, of course, it certainly would. But I think we could have had something that because at the moment
it still won't be enough on its own. But we'd still insist on a second form. Like first one was like, yes, this driving license is clearly legal ID that proves I'm me. It's like, yeah, but we want a second piece of legal ID that proves you're you. It's like this feels arbitrary.
It does because they're just as hard to get as each other. In fact, if anything, the driving license is slightly harder. But yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, you've got to actually complete a driving test. To
Yeah,
get it.
I mean it. What do you call it? It excludes so many people because so many people will never fly, will never leave the country, so they don't need a passport. But so
I
many
do
people
think there
can't
should be an
drive.
optional national ID, but it shouldn't be. If you don't want a driving license or a passport, there should be a third kind of ID option you can take.
I mean, realistically, I
That's
think it
realistically
should
cheaper
be.
than both.
I think it. I think like obviously, if there's anyone watching in the foreigners, like we get a little our national insurance
I don't
number,
even
which
know
is
where
like
mine is.
yeah. I mean, no one knows where it is at our age, James. But you get it when you're like 15 or something. It's just issued to you so that you can get a job and pay tax and etc. etc. And I think it should be that the national ID card gets given then. That instead of getting your national insurance card, because that's just a waste of plastic or whatever it is, you get given a national ID card, which then can work as your provisional driving license if you choose to, and then it can be upgraded to also be your driving license. And I think that it should work as one entity. And obviously, had we still been in the EU, thanks Brexit,
it could have been used for travel as well.
It could have been used for travel as well, because many European countries just have an ID card they can go. So even between non-EU and EU countries, like Switzerland going into wherever, like that might be the wrong example, but a similar example. You just need your ID card. You don't need to take your passport everywhere. And I think that would have been helpful.
That said, do you know how technology has hit for passport booths? You don't have to send pictures in anymore. It's crazy.
Go on then.
You go to the passport booth.
Yeah.
Probably a Max Spielman run one.
Yeah.
It prints them out for you still.
Yeah.
But it also uploads a copy of them to Max Spielman's servers. And then the passport office just grabs from the Max Spielman servers.
Huh.
And you don't ever actually send the photos in.
Amazing.
Yeah. To the point where you're like, I'm getting less what I'm actually paying for here when I'm ordering these photos. I know you're paying for the infrastructure and the...
Well, yeah.
But, you don't actually send the photos in.
I suppose it saves you having to post some.
Oh, yeah, I remember the days when I used to be a passport photo cutter.
Yeah.
And you had to line it up perfectly, and occasionally someone would come back and go, the passport office won't accept my photo, and you had to do a whole new one for free because there was a guarantee that they'd always be accepted. Long gone are those days, I guess.
I think you can still get them in the post office, can't you? So,
there's a booth in
depending
there.
on depends on the post office you go to.
But I reckon Max Spearman actually probably just runs every passport booth in the country. I bet near enough.
I don't know. I think the one that we had in the supermarket I used to work for wasn't Max Billman. It was something else. That was a good one because up until very recently it was cash only, and it was put your money in at the end. And of course, the general public do not like to read. They might be capable of reading, but actually engaging one's brain is just far too hard. I don't know. The number of times that I had people come up to me, I mean, it was at least once a day, where they come up like, the machine ate my money. Did you read the instructions? No.
Well, moving on.
Yeah.
We watched She-Hulk.
Yes.
We both watched She-Hulk recently.
We bloody did, and what a great show that was. I know you have. I know we both have issues with the finale.
I think it's a great show. I don't think it earns what it's trying to do in the finale, and
no,
I don't think it breaks the fourth wall enough throughout.
Yeah.
And I love episodes 1 through 5. Or was it 8 episodes?
I think it was 8. So I think it's 1 through 7.
And I even like episode 8.
I like episode 8. I think, again, as you say, it doesn't quite earn the...
That said, it is very She-Hulk, because She-Hulk used to threaten to rip up your X-Men comics if you didn't buy her comic.
Well, I know it's that particular episode is taken directly from a comic where she comes out and
she regularly called out her, John Byrne one.
Yeah.
She regularly calls out John Byrne for what he's doing. Like, it's a great run. And She-Hulk. Also, if anyone is wanting to, as Watchers wants to read some She-Hulk, the John Byrne run, cracking. Very 80s, 70s, like maybe probably 80s, but very much of the era. Quite cheesecakey, but good run. And if you want more of a legal comedy side, Dan Slott's run. Dan Slott's run is a nigh on perfect comic book run. It's great.
See, that's where I'm sort of hoping that season 2 goes. I really want Hulky McBeal.
They've said it's going to carry on being a legal comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be quite happy if it does stay as quite literally a legal comedy that just happens to be about She-Hulk, and the various issues that face essentially a normal person's life.
Yeah.
Who has accidentally become superpowered. She isn't necessarily a superhero.
Also,
she probably, because she's a good person, has moments where she has to be a superhero, but like doesn't want to be one.
Also,
realistically,
Tatiana Maslany was just amazing in the role. She was great. Like her comic timing is so good.
Oh, she's wonderful. I don't think any of the cast were bad at all.
One of my main issues with that last episode as well is like no Disney / Marvel. You don't get to joke about you mistreating your effects artists as a way to kind of
say, oh well, it's sorry.
Yeah, like
until
you start treating them better. And even then, you still shouldn't make that joke because you were the people treating them badly in the first place.
Yeah. I suppose the flip side of that, though, is them. They actually admitted that they did it. Like,
but we're not going to stop doing it. So it's
no. But I mean, but then the number of companies that just wouldn't even admit it in the first place, or would simply just trash them, like like what's happened with Warner Brothers Discovery, like you're fired.
If anything, though, that just shows how brazen Disney is in the fact that, like, hey, we can fully admit to this as a joke, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
be better, Disney. I don't know why I'm asking a giant corporation to be better, because they're never going to be, but still, be better. I was watching Black Adam at cinema, and may as well move on to my thoughts on Black Adam a little bit while...
Yeah, I haven't. I was going to try and see it on Sunday. We just ended up being too busy.
There was a time when I was watching the trailers. It was a couple of Warner trailers, a couple of Disney trailers, and the Avatar trailer came on, and it's like, oh no, I did. Oh wait, no, it's a Disney trailer.
Yeah.
Black Adam is almost an interesting film.
Did the hierarchy change, James?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, it probably has. The Rock's name, the Rock's cachet of like how strong his name is probably means that, at least in the short term, he possibly has
the JSA we got in this film. The like the Hawkman, and I guess I should have warned at the start, so I guess you've got some She-Hulk spoilers there. Spoilers are everything we're discussing here. So if you don't want to listen to spoilers,
including spoilers for things that I haven't seen. So
yes, please politely vacate the
the
room. We will not be held accountable for you staying and getting yourself spoilt.
Yep.
You have been warned. I didn't warn you before She-Hulk, so my bad if anything got spoiled there for you. But you've been warned going forward.
So yes,
I liked the JSA.
Yeah, I've heard Hawkman's great.
Well, of course he was going to be. Look who's playing him.
Yeah, who was it playing him?
It's God, I'm terrible with names.
So am I. That's part of the reason I just asked you. I knew you'd have to get your phone. I probably will go and see it. We're definitely going to go and see Black Panther 2 on Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to see it on Friday. It's not Black Panther 2, it's Wakanda Forever.
You know what I mean. It is
Aldous Hodge,
Aldous Hodge. What's he
who
been in before?
been a fair amount. I love him for Leverage.
Hmm.
For Carlos. His star has risen a fair amount since then, but
Yeah,
he's a great Hawkman. Cyclone is great. The guy playing Atom Smasher is fun. Pierce Brosnan is brilliant as Fate. There are times when I'm like, I could just be watching the Justice Society movie now, and that would be probably making me happier.
yeah.
But thing is, they do this weird thing where they almost tried to T2 Black Adam.
I've seen this elsewhere. I think it was the IGN review.
And I think they're trying to do this bit where obviously he's Asian. He doesn't like. I'm guessing he magically instantly understands English, but his sentence, like his grasp of like speaking it, I think that's what they're trying to go for.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work, but I think that's what they're trying to go for. In the same way, like there's a whole subplot that kind of fizzles about how the Justice Society are basically interlopers, right? This city has been under Intergang is a fictional DC criminal organisation.
Yeah.
This city's been like under the heel of Intergang for so long at this point. The Justice Society has never shown up to help them, but now Black Adam's here. They show up and destroy a bunch of a city in a fight with him, and the people are generally like pissed off at them because like he was helping us. What have you come here for?
Yeah.
And like I think there's a more interesting story to tell around that the film just doesn't.
Yeah.
But it has made me aware that like I would like shared casts within, I think, the DC films, like to a certain extent. Like if Hawkman showed up in a Harley Quinn film, I'd like it to be Aldous Hodge playing him.
Yeah.
In the same way that it's another film where we have Viola Davis as Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
I think having her play Amanda Waller throughout, even if the films aren't as interknitted as the MCU, I think is a smart move. I think we can I do think we can almost have a cake and eat it too. I think
you can have a shared universe with some independent,
a very loose shared universe. And I won't lie, in the after credits, seeing Henry Cavill as Superman did get a little Superman.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I think
seeing that picture they released for Henry Cavill's announcement that he's coming back on a permanent-ish basis, like that is the same costume. It just looks so much better.
Well, yeah, it's just brightened up a touch, isn't it?
Yeah, and he has the spit curl.
Yeah, the cowlick.
Yeah, but it's an S spit curl, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think there's never been an issue with casting, really, in the DC films, like in the Snyder era. Like Man of Steel, quite literally has perfect casting. It's just unfortunate that it's just not a great Superman film. Same with BVS. Like
I do also think Man of Steel,
it's a terrible film. But
Man of Steel isn't a terrible film, though. Man of Steel.
No, BVS is.
I'm tempted to rewatch Man of Steel soon, just to reevaluate it slightly. BVS, I don't ever really want to watch again.
I rewatched Man of Steel about a year ago.
Thing is,
was it? I know, like it was still. I mean, the thing is, it's okay. I think actually in reevaluating it, it's an okay to good science fiction film. But I still think it's a terrible Superman film.
Patrick Willems, the YouTube film video essayist. Great. There's a recommendation to watch his videos if you don't. He's very good. He just did a hour and like half long video on Snyder because he promised it to his Patreons at one point, and he finally realized I've got to get round to doing it, haven't I? And he framed it all through Legends of Ga'Hoole being the Rosetta Stone of understanding Snyder, and that's where he fell on like, oh yeah, when Snyder tells you his favourite film is Excalibur, he's not lying. Snyder has just spent his entire career effectively trying to remake Excalibur. And the minute someone says that, you look at it all and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has. His whole Justice League, his whole Superman trilogy, right?
Yeah, man.
Is, especially when you realise, like, if he was going to carry on with it, he was going to have Bruce and Lois have a kid together.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, oh, this whole thing is a remake of it, is a very long I mean, Excalibur's not a short film, but
no,
this whole thing is a very long remake of Excalibur starring DC IP.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it kind of clicks into place and you're like, now I see what he's doing. Why it's still not for me. I don't think he failed at it. It's the thing.
No. Like, but then, without being overly cynical, it's also like when people claim that our current politicians are inept. They're not. They just do exactly what they want to do.
Snyder's not inept, is he? That's the thing. Snyder
knows what he wants to make, and he makes it. Like
Snyder, I think also comes in. He's maybe a bit late to cinema. Like,
yeah,
I think if Snyder was a contemporary of Bay, we may still mock him in the way we sometimes mock Bay, but I think we also like. There's also a level. There is a level of respect for Bay that I don't think Snyder gets, and I don't think they're dissimilar directors as a thing.
Because Michael Bay started as a Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
Not Roland Emmerich. Who's the Jerry Bruckheimer?
I think
he started as a Jerry Bruckheimer boy. You're right. If Snyder was a Jerry Bruckheimer boy, if anything, we'd bloody love his films. They'd be shit, but they'd be bloody brilliant. Like, they'd be like in equal measures. Some of the worst
again,
films
I would like to
made.
say these talking points. I am riffing completely off that Patrick Willems video. Please go and watch it.
Yeah. But I love.
Maybe
Jerry
I'll
Bruckheimer
put links
films.
in the comments to it.
Yeah, I think probably.
Yeah,
we should probably do that
because I am just taking his talking points and discussing them with Matt for our own content here.
But at least you're referencing him. Like it's better to like.
Also, let's be fair. A lot more people watch him than watch us.
Oh, I know. But like, even so, I think it's like kind of as small as our audience is.
He's brilliant because he puts ongoing storylines into his video essays.
Yeah.
So he did a whole year where an evil coconut tried to take over the world, and it ended in a feature film he recently made.
Nice.
But
anyway,
yeah.
So Man of Steel. Before we move on,
yeah.
Breaking news before we started recording this. Apparently, Spielberg's being sniffed around for Man of Steel 2. So, as I would not be against that. I don't want him writing it. Like, I want obviously the right writer, but I think if anyone can give you that sense of wonder and hope,
I don't think I want a Spielberg Superman.
I don't know, because he was very good mates with Dick Donner.
Yeah,
and I think that,
I don't want a Dick Donner Superman though either.
Yeah.
I know that's your ideal kind of, but
no, but I think that like he would bring something else to it. He'd also have. I want
a kind of modern comics accurate Superman, if you get me. Like,
no, I get you. I think the thing is that like Superman in this version of, and Henry Cavill definitely deserves a Superman that can be a beacon of hope, that can smile, that can make like children feel warm and lovely and like just and I think because I genuinely think that you're probably right.
He's made one Superman film. Let him make a second.
Yeah,
like Iron Giant is just a Superman film, isn't it? So
yeah, although isn't Brad Bird one of the ones that's had issues?
Oh, I think you might be right. So maybe not.
Yeah. So, like, I think he went and kind of Whedoned himself, didn't he? See, again, like, Whedon probably actually, He probably would have made a great one.
No, I don't. For more, like, reevaluating a lot of his work lately, he's fully to blame for the current, that current, like, jokiness of characters never taking what is happening on screen seriously. Of like, did that just happen? He can fly now? All those kind of asides that at times can be humorous, don't get me wrong, but are so prevalent and stuff now that it's just somewhat tiring, are all
Fair
his
enough.
fault. Like, but speaking of Whedon, what did we see recently, Matt?
We went to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer the movie at a local cinema.
It was a blast. It had a re-release for Halloween, didn't it?
Yeah. I think it may have been a 4K remaster. Or like, because I'm sure I've seen.
I've not seen any announcement of a disc coming out, and they only tend to happen when a disc is coming out.
I'm sure I've seen a decent. Where was it? It may have even just been on iTunes or something like that. Or was it? It might have been on one of the streaming services, and it was listed in 4K or something daft like that. But either way, it doesn't really matter. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Like, it was. Obviously, it's still a product of its time. I think there's some quite. In a way,
still listed as HD on iTunes. Apparently, they own it on iTunes as well.
In a way, there's some quite subtle social commentary actually.
I really,
because it's as over the top and ridiculous as it is. Like it does make an effort to talk about sexism, gender stereotyping, all sorts of stuff. So.
I grew up viewing it as. Oh, it's the not good film that preludes the TV show I love, right?
Because as you rightfully pointed out, it is actually like it does directly lead on to the TV show because the TV show is actually a sequel.
Yeah, there's a few but tweaks. It is pretty much canon.
Yeah.
It works. Like it 100% works as a, and it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed watching it.
It was a good night out. I'm very lucky. I live very close to 4, if not 5 cinemas. The local Odeon, other cinemas are available, was showing this. And so we went and had a little loll about in the cinema one evening.
Odeon. And again, this is the kind of thing that super intrigues me, but maybe like 3 other people in the world may be interested in. Although actually no, in the era of in the age of Nicole Kidman's Sting, like more people may be interested in like cinema stingers, but they've changed for little bits after years. It no longer says, "Hey you in the back, I see you. Turn your phone off," and it's no longer like time for a bit everybody loves the trailers. I go to cinema a lot, guys.
Yeah.
Which
well,
is
you have one.
I have Odeon's Limitless card, so I hear Odeon's bits a lot, which is what I've been into my mind. Now it says, "Time to glimpse the future, the trailers." I preferred the first one, but hey ho, I'll get used to these new ones.
I think the thing is that it's rare now that a trailer before a film is a real treat. I think
there are times when there's a big film coming out you're excited for, and you've seen it on YouTube, sure, but you get to see it on the big screen for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's the rare time, and it's lovely, it's wonderful.
But
it's
again,
like when
I'm also someone who goes to cinema often enough that I see all these trailers on the big screen a lot over a length of time.
Well, it's like when I think when the Dune trailer first dropped.
Yes.
And I can't remember what we went to see before Dune came out. But the trailer was on, and it was oh my word, it was wonderful.
I will say,
and I love that film anyway.
For Wakanda Forever trailer, the one that has No Woman No Crying, is great on the big screen because as those first notes of like the song drop on the big speakers, it has And that trailer is a wonderful trailer because I don't really think it's a trailer for the film. The whole thing feels like a tribute to Boseman.
And from the sounds of it, the whole film is like,
Yeah.
I know obviously they've got to like forward some story here and what have you, but like, I really hope that this is the film that Disney has allowed the filmmaker
It's
a bit more freedom with, because I love Coogler. I think Coogler is phenomenal.
It's the first MCU film in a while I'm generally excited to go to see, and I'm not going to see it just because.
I think Coogler, when he's allowed to just kind of have free reign, and admittedly, a very young director. I think he's still only 34, something like that.
The unfortunate truth, though, is that it doesn't have much to be the best Marvel film this year.
No.
Doctor Strange is fun, and I think all right.
I enjoyed Doctor Strange. It was
Thor: Love and Thunder is just a mess, and being the big Waititi fan I am, it kind of pains me to say that. But
yeah, I mean,
it's not a good film.
I watched it on Disney Plus.
The goats are funny.
The goats are funny. I think I enjoyed our visit to New Asgard.
Yes,
because that's I took James across the border for the first time. He's never been to Scotland, but he managed to get past Hadrian's Wall, and we got into Scotland, and we went to the little fishing village that is the real life location of
that was
New
really
Asgard.
fun. Maybe we can pop some pictures here and here.
I think we will, because we'll just make sure there's some gap like that. And to be honest, the way we'll frame it, I'll have plenty of space. But the I think I enjoyed that hour and a half that we had in New Asgard.
I had a blast there. It was fun.
Like holding a couple of rubber hammers.
Helps that it's also a lovely little village, right? Like,
it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It'd be pleasant even if it wasn't New Asgard. It'd still be a pleasant hour and a half. But
I mean, I'm genuinely tempted to go and try out some of the glamping pod areas that are just outside the village as well, because it's just a beautiful part of the world. So I wouldn't be against that.
But yeah, it just, especially knowing the storyline he chose to adapt.
Yeah.
Which is a storyline full of like pathos. And knowing how good he is with pathos.
And how good the actors are. Because, I mean, let's face it, he's got Christian Bale playing the villain. Who...
It 100% feels like a contractual obligation.
It does. And an excuse to just drink a lot and bang a lot while not actually on set. So...
Like, we all know he is capable of making better films than that.
Significantly better.
I mean, Ragnarok is significantly better.
Yeah. It doesn't... It doesn't fill me with a lot of hope for his Star Wars film either.
It's all of his worst comedy instincts without any of his...
Yeah.
His better angels, effectively. Like...
Speaking of Star Wars... I've only seen episode 1 of Andor.
Yeah, I think we are safe talking about Andor, because I've seen the first 3 that released on the same day, and then I've seen weeks after, but I've not seen beyond that. I need to. It's meant to be amazing. I should be up to date. I'm not.
Initial impression from one episode, bloody loved it. I know it was a bit slow for some folk. It reminded me of like a British or even a Scandinavian cop drama, like Dead Girl Found in the Woods kind of thing, in its pacing and its look and tone and what have you. But I loved that. I thought nice little change. So I can't wait to see
I think maybe when we've all seen it, we do something on Andor.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I'm going to quickly beat through 3 things that you've not seen, I think.
Go for it.
Back to sitcoms. I just watched Reboot on Disney+.
Yep.
It's 8 half-hour episodes. It should be more. It's not. I hope it gets renewed for a second season. It's amazing.
Cool.
It's a lovely, lovely sitcom. It has a great cast. Johnny Knoxville's outstanding in it. Keegan-Michael Key is as good as he always is. Like, he's always a blast to watch.
Speaking of Keegan Michael Key, then we'll jump. I'll just quickly mention one. I finished the Pentaveret recently. Michael Myers' Netflix thing. Yes, I know there's a bit of tentativeness there. Keegan Michael Key's in the first few episodes. It feels like Mike Myers made a spiritual successor to the Mighty Boosh.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's weird.
That's
in a good way.
Because Mighty Boosh is also one of those shows that, much like Little Britain, in retrospect, it's like, that probably shouldn't have been on TV in that year.
Certain elements of it. Yeah. There's definitely certain elements of it. I think the Mighty Boosh as a whole, excellent. There are definitely a couple of characters that maybe they should have hired an actor of a different skin color to have played. But yeah, it's in the sense of weirdness and strangeness and kind of like, okay, let's see what we can get away with. Netflix has given me a blank check and just gone, blah, go on, do. And I get the feeling there's that. The only problem I feel with it is it isn't stupid enough. Like, it's almost like he's a little bit scared to go all the way, because he knows full well that, like, realistically, it's an American audience that's probably going to watch this as opposed to certain other audiences. And if you go a bit too weird, it might be in the same vein as Netflix's remake of Murder in Successville, which Murderville is excellent, and I think if you're not British, and 100% if you haven't seen Murder in Successville, Murderville's wonderful. It just doesn't quite hit if you like the original. I think it's just. Go on, back to you, Jen.
Yes, I was also going to say, obviously I mentioned Knoxville and Keegan-Michael Key. Also Rachel Bloom, Judy Greer. Basically, it's up there as one of the best sitcoms I've seen in recent times.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they so fully establish the world. And that's why British sitcoms obviously run short length of time. So when I'm saying sitcoms should be long, I am specifically referring to American sitcoms.
Yeah.
Because American sitcoms do have that wonderful habit of creating a world you want to live in with the characters, right? Week to week. And only having 8 of them, just like, you get to the end, it's like, yeah, I loved that. Where's the rest? I hope if they do bring it back, especially as it's a sitcom about making a sitcom, they bring it back for more episodes next time. But also, speaking of Keegan-Michael Key and his frequent collaborator, I say frequent collaborator. We'll still go frequent collaborator, Jordan Peele.
Yes.
Then Jordan Peele's new project with Henry Selick, which we're both in. Peele and Key are in it as devils, demons, whatever. It's on Wendell and Wild on Netflix. Henry Selick still has it. Henry Selick is still the king of stop motion.
Yeah.
I also love how Netflix is doubling down on stop motion this year, because we've got Del Toro's Pinocchio coming up very shortly.
Oh yeah, forgot about that, because there's another Pinocchio that's on Disney at the moment as well, isn't there?
Yes, there's the Disney remake, the live action remake, which I have no desire to see. Cruella was the last one I watched, which I actually admittedly kind of enjoyed, but that was more for Emma Stone than anything else.
Yeah.
She's always a blast to watch. But
what was the third one? You said 3.
Actually, When the Wild is one I've slipped in there.
Wow.
So there's a quick aside. I watched a great piece of YouTube journalism last night. I sent you the link to it.
I haven't watched it yet.
Nope, but fully recommend watching it. It's by a UK team called People Make Games. they do great pieces of video game journalism. They did a whole expose on Roblox last year and how it preys on young people. And this is all about the underbelly of black market gambling attached to Valve. Of how skins and things you earn in CSGO, you can then take to these casino sites and gamble with.
Bloody hell.
And that there's a whole industry around it. And I had never really seen or heard of it. And it was like, oh, this feels like... And the problem is, because it's not gambling, it's perfectly legal for kids to do. And they speak to a psychiatrist who says, oh yeah, if you get a kid into gambling at a young age, they are going to have, because the brain is still developing, they are going to have neural pathways of basically being a gambling addict for life.
So although it's not for money, like, it just means that, like, as soon as little Timmy is old enough to access gambling sites,
like, I've never been in a casino ever.
Haven't you?
No.
Didn't we go to one in Stoke? I know I went with Dan.
Yeah, you and Dan went. I couldn't find my ID, so I didn't end up going.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I know I have a slightly addictive personality.
Yeah.
And I know a casino would be a bad place for me to be.
I honestly think they're so boring.
Thing is, it depends on what part of my brain wins out. Because I'm fully aware of it. Yeah. Whenever, because it's the same with, like, we went to a bar arcade the other day, didn't we? And it's that similar feeling of, like, oh, one more coin and maybe I could win. Right? Yeah. It's I know how, like, I'm big into Marvel Snap at the moment. Marvel card game. It's very good. And it has a snapping mechanism where to raise in rank, you bet cubes on your match. And if you win, and you can up the stakes. If you win, you get for cubes. If you lose for cubes. And you can up the stakes up to 8 cubes. And I was having a conversation with friends, because I quite often just go all the way to 8. While they play more conservatively. I was like, yeah, but there's no actual stakes in it, and it's the thrill of the... of the rush, right? And I was like... So, I know how my brain, like, works in regard to that. And I know, like, it could, like... The better half of my brain could win out, but if it doesn't, it'd be a dangerous place to be.
I think the barcade that we went to an NQ64, it's a fun atmosphere, because really it's a club.
Oh yeah, I was just using that as a very vague example for like coin slots.
By contrast, most UK casinos are boring. They're really dull looking places that just, like, unless you really enjoy the game that you're playing, it's not really a place that's worth going into. And to be perfectly honest, my experience in Vegas, I know I've only been once, but, like, I was there for quite good 2 weeks nearly. Walked around, went into lots of casinos. There was not a single time I felt like I wanted to sit at a table and gamble, because it was just dull.
See, that's the thing with me. Like, I could very much avoid starting it, but the minute I did sit down and begin, that's when if I won, the endorphin would kick in.
I get you. I think, like, for Vegas in particular, it was the fact that, like, you can tell how well it's shot in films, because most of the casinos are vastly underwhelming. Like, they don't feel big or grand or spectacular. Nothing. It's just literally just people on their holiday spending money they don't have.
Yeah.
And I think there was maybe one that felt like it was what you see on the cinema book. Like.
But so underground gambling attached to Valve. It's a very interesting documentary. They're doing a second part soon where we actually just talk about how Valve is as a company, and they have some interviews with ex-Valve employees about how the place operates. That is apparently going to be fascinating. Apparently it's a very libertarian company. In,
Ooh.
yeah, apparently it has a very
Yeah.
apparently part because it was touched on in this. They don't hire anyone for any specific job,
Yeah.
and apparently one of the rules within the company, the cardinal sin that you can commit at Valve, is apparently you. And again, I am quoting directly from the video, so I'll put a link to that one in there as well. They definitely deserve a view and a watch because I think they're doing important work in the video game space.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, people make games. Apparently, yeah, the cardinal sin at Valve is that you can't make work for any other person without their explicit consent.
Yeah.
So nothing you do can create work for someone else unless it's been all agreed upon. And it's like, how does anything get done? This is why Half-Life 3 has never come out.
Yeah.
Speaking of Valve, I do have a Steam Deck now, though.
Yeah, yeah. But that also means that it sort of encourages crunch as well, because like you'll never
crunch
actively...
on what? They haven't made a game in.
Yeah, I suppose. Except for Alex.
Alex, and I guess the demo for Steam Deck, because then the one that teaches you how to use it.
Yeah. Moving on then.
Yes, I had one last TV show I want to speak about.
Go on.
Before two we've both seen.
Yes.
The Sandman.
Oh, yes, because I've seen 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, have you watched some of it?
Some of it, not all of it.
It's very good. It's a very good adaptation.
Yeah, really enjoyed what I have seen of it. Actually reminded me a bit of the BBC's adaptation of his Dark Materials.
Yeah,
like another thing I need to go and finish. I got most of the way through that, but my wife hadn't seen it.
I seen the first season, not seasons 2 or the upcoming 3. It didn't quite do it for me, but
I liked what I saw of it. I thought obviously it's better than the Golden.
Speaking of his, but yeah, Sandman, graphic novels, formative media for me. If you look at the construction blocks of me, Sandman is a very large one in there. I'm actually rereading them right now, and like every few issues, I'm hit with I should not have been reading this at 13, 14. This may explain more about me than I realise. But we're just in the library.
Yeah.
And when it came to reading, film and stuff was monitored for me. It was no, you can't watch an 18, you can't watch...
Yeah.
But when it came to reading, the kind of thing was hey, read whatever you want.
Yeah, but a lot of time books, because in this country, they don't really have... there's no legal restrictions on them, I think, unless it becomes something like arguably adult art.
And I was in the adult as in not the kids section of a library from quite a young age. But yeah, Sandman is one of obviously it hasn't damaged me. No, but it's one of those things where reading it's I don't think 13-year-old me should have been reading this, but hey ho.
Yeah, but I mean, you can.
But that's the thing. I think the stuff that shocks me now in it that didn't shock 13 or 14-year-old me, or at least obviously not in the same.
Yeah.
But moving on from Sandman, other than it gets a thorough recommendation, and it's been renewed for a season 2, thankfully.
Good.
Which apparently was very up in the air on whether it would or not. Yeah, moving on from that, there is... but quickly, where are you up to in Doctor Who Flux?
2 episodes left.
2 episodes left. Okay, we won't discuss that. However, Doctor Who Flux is great, and there's a 2-hour video somewhere on the channel of me and Connor discussing it.
Yeah, once I'm fully up to date.
May actually be the longest video we've got on the channel of me and Connor discovering the 7-episode season of Doctor Who.
I think possibly a Comics Unmasked might be longer, and I think maybe the one of us playing Tartarus Gate probably is longer as well.
Yeah, it's up there, but Tartarus Gate, I don't know, maybe but
because that was 2 episodes anyway, wasn't it?
Tartarus Gate was 3.
Yeah. 3, yeah.
But it's a very long video about a single topic. Although I imagine we ended up just discussing Doctor Who in general.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Cool. We'll come back. We'll put a pin in that. Ghosts season 4. Have you seen all of that now?
no, I haven't. Still only 2 episodes. Bloody love it.
Yeah, it's still very good.
Like I mean, now it's on a 4th season, and I know obviously it's UK style, so it's short form. It's only like 6 or 8 episodes a season.
6.
Yeah. It's up there with one of the best sitcoms of this decade. Definitely.
I've watched a few episodes of the American one as well.
I've heard they do a good job.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I won't watch more of it, to be fair.
Yeah, I want to see where it. I would like to see it because I like some of the cast. Obviously, the female leads from I'm a Zombie, which I love. Really?
Yeah, she was in a Power Rangers show. I can't remember which one.
Oh, a show, not one of the films. Like, because there was that recent.
No,
film.
she's one of. She was a Power Ranger in one of the many.
Oh wow!
I think it's for post-apocalypse Power Rangers.
Okay, cool.
Where they all drove cars and.
But yeah, she's cool. So to be honest, she would be the reason I would actually watch it. Like that and Curiosity.
I like the little changes they make as well. Like instead of a caveman, you got a Viking, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
There's roles that are obviously very much like for
American specific, yeah.
And then there's some that just wouldn't make sense in America, swapped out.
And I think that's a good thing. Like, obviously, they've got to make it their own.
Yeah. But obviously, Scout Leader still works in both places.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's. I mean, obviously, the thing, like, it's the Horrible Histories team who have done phenomenal work.
They're a great. They are obviously, our alive people aren't part of that team. It's all the ghosts who are part of that team. And they play multiple roles, don't they? Like, if you go down and you see, like, the downstairs ghosts, like, you can spot, obviously, the same.
It's exactly the same.
But they're an acting troupe in the kind of old school way, sense, right?
Yeah. And comedians that have found something, and they obviously are massive history nerds. And
because I would say, as an adult, I will sometimes just like fall into watching Horrible History bits on YouTube
because it's great.
It is.
So that's why. I think
I grew up reading those books, and they were good books. But I think they turned the books into something even better. Like with,
I think it's another thing as well that it's without veering too far into like society and politics and etc. Like it's another thing of like we will miss this if there's no BBC.
Yes.
We will not get Horrible Histories or the equivalent if the BBC dies. Which then, obviously, in this case, means we wouldn't get Ghosts. And this is very much, in a way, a successor to things like Blackadder and things like the history-based comedies. I mean, obviously, recently we've had Upstart Crow as well.
Upstart Crow and Ghosts, we've had two of what may be the best history-based comedies made. Like, I think, as much as I love Blackadder, I think both of those are better than Blackadder.
Yes, yeah, and I think, but obviously, Upstart Crow is written by Ben Elton, but it's a much more mature Ben Elton, who has probably refined everything he knows.
And as much as I love Atkinson, I want to watch his Bee thing on Netflix.
I really don't.
I kind of do.
I really, really don't. Like,
I want a bit of Bee slapstick.
It just, I don't know. There's something about it that just makes me think, nah, I'm all right.
I love. Why is his name escaping me? Plays Shakespeare. David Mitchell. So Elton writing the Mitchell, with Mitchell's great ability to like speechify.
Yeah.
Just sings. Elton writing, David Mitchell playing a kind of put upon blowhard Shakespeare.
Probably quite a realistic Shakespeare.
Yeah, it just works. Like every time he gets home and he goes on a mass rant about the public transport, which is clearly a thinly veiled stab at our current public transport.
As well as various political commentaries and all sorts.
It's brilliant.
It's Ben Elton. It
Yeah.
is Ben Elton to a T, and I hope we get more Upstart Crow.
I have a feeling Upstart Crow may be finished.
Yeah, because they did have a great Christmas special to finish. Like the pandemic one was fantastic. Yeah. But as long as we get more ghosts, I'm happy with that.
Speaking of David Mitchell as well, I recently fell into an addiction of watching Would You Lie to Me episodes.
Yeah.
And God, it's such a good panel show. Like, I think it's a panel show that's been running forever, but it's the one that never gets a lot of.
Well, it's essentially a reboot of Call My Bluff as well, because which was around since the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
There is a US version of Would You Like It to Me as well. Like, I can't remember who's in it. But it is actually
It's
essentially they bought the product.
And like
I do wonder how good that is.
It's whenever they get Mortimer on it.
Oh my God, yes.
Because his ability to just you listen to it, it's like, and you're as frustrated as David Mitchell is with him, because it's like, David Mitchell's guest, usually not for comedy guests, because the comedy guests are so regular that they also but whoever that week's kind of non-comedy guest is on each team, right? Like who's like I think he's lying, or no wake up to, and it's like, and Mitchell's just like, you don't know with this man. You can say anything and make it. And how Mitchell just has no barometer for being able to tell whether Mortimer's bullshitting or not.
I mean, who does? Let's face it, who does? Speaking of Bob Mortimer, I need to catch up a little bit. But have you ever watched any of Mortimer and Whitehouse Go Fishing?
I haven't, but I have heard it's amazing.
It is one of the purest, most joyous, and yet cathartic and introspective and philosophical half an hour of entertainment that you'll ever encounter. Again, it's another one of those very much, if the BBC didn't exist, this would never ever get made, because it's just literally these two old mates have gone, can we have a small camera crew so that we can go fishing? And it probably cost, in the grand scheme of things, pennies. It
reminds me of James May's old show where he's like, can I have a small camera crew to fix things in a garage, please?
Well, he's got it. He's still got it on Amazon, hasn't he? They've moved it over to that thing.
He's got his. They have. Well, I don't know. I don't think he ever brought that back. He's got other stuff on Amazon, but I don't think that ever came back. His cooking show on Amazon was surprisingly decent.
And he had that. Because a lot of what James May did was Open University stuff. So
yeah, he's the only one of them that I'm ever interested in their solo projects on Amazon.
Yeah,
out of a few of them. Whenever the others have a solo project, nah, I'm good. But James May, I'll always give it a go.
I watch a little bit of Drive Tribe on YouTube every now and again. One
last British thing before we move on to the show within the show.
Yep. It's assuming we have time, because I think, didn't you say you had about 11:30? I don't mind talking about the other topic. Surprise, it'll be Star Trek.
Then maybe we make this, and maybe we do lower. Are you free next Monday?
No.
Next Tuesday? We can discuss this after this, so let's...
Yes. Let's not make plans. It's not a plans show.
No.
Yeah.
This, the current season of Taskmaster... I mean, every season of Taskmaster is so good. But the current season of Taskmaster... I know there's a lot of Taskmaster fans out there in America as well.
Hasn't it got its own version over there?
No, it ended very quickly because...
Did it? Yeah.
Although Alex Horne was on it.
Well, I imagine they wouldn't get him.
No.
It would only be the real Anglophiles that really love British stuff that would have gone, oh yeah, I love me some Alex Horne.
The thing is, it's very obviously, clearly and definitely, it's Alex Horne's baby, isn't it?
Yeah,
obviously, Greg is the Taskmaster. Greg Davis for... Anyway, that's been. Yeah. I find it interesting. You can talk about British comedians by first name basis, and I can say Greg, and you know instantly who I'm on about.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, fair. If we're talking famous British personalities, if I say Greg, it's only got to be one or two people, Davis or Wallace these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, the current Taskmaster batch is so good. But then I think this every year. I just love Taskmaster. Like,
I occasionally dip in and out. I don't like religiously watch it, but when it is one of those things for me, it's an absolute guaranteed laugh.
yeah,
That if there's nothing else I want to watch, and especially if I need some like background noise or stuff like that, like during the first lockdown in particular, the big background noise thing for us while I was cooking was 8 out of 10 Cats Do Countdown.
yeah.
Because it is incredible. Because it's all of that silly like British panel show humour, but put into Countdown.
See,
suddenly you get to play word and number games as well.
I know we're discussing 2 Channel 4 panel shows here, right?
Yeah.
But that's the other thing losing the BBC would do. It was so seriously damaged the British comedy scene.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Because that's how comics come up. They small stages, then they get invited to panel shows, and then they sell out arenas. That is the path of British.
Yeah. Well, that and obviously, the BBC supports a lot of local music and comedy venues and stuff like that.
Obviously they're running their current New Comic of the Year competition at the moment that Fern Brady is the head judge on. Which
Sadly,
only a few years ago, Fern Brady would have probably been a contestant. That's that's how.
Sadly, of course, one of our longest running panel shows.
I haven't watched Mock the Week in years, so maybe I'm part of the problem. But
no, it's the fact that our government has installed certain people that doesn't.
It's also a thing that you cancel that one and not Have I Got News for You, the much more critical one.
No one watches Have I Got News for You.
I do occasionally.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it is still the reserve. It feels like it's that because it's on a certain time on a Friday night that only a very specific audience are going to watch.
The thing is, he's always been that way. But Ian, what's his surname?
Hislop,
yeah. He has clearly reached the age where he has no fucks left to give.
Oh yeah, he goes for it. He absolutely goes. And God bless him. God bless. He's the editor of Private Eye.
And he holds that like we're probably one of a few bastions of journalism left in the country, and that's a shame because we shouldn't be.
Yeah, because they're essentially a
satirical newspaper, aren't they?
It's a satirical newspaper. So they report the truth, but like through a comedy lens. But it's become less of a comedic lens and more of a what the fuck is going on lens. Seriously, people, how stupid can you be? And yeah, it's Have I Got News for You is a political,
probably our longest running panel show at this point.
It's one of our longest running shows.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been around since the 80s. There's only really going to be a couple of sitcoms, a couple of soap operas, and Doctor Who, and obviously maybe a couple of current affairs things that maybe have lasted a similar length of time. But yeah, it's the death of Mock the Week is worrying.
Yeah,
because it's very, very, very obvious and open. With the fact that it's been cut because it was too left wing,
and yet Frankie Boyle's show has been recommissioned.
Yeah, but I think Frankie Boyle
it hangs out an iPlayer. It's a weird online thing. It's not
that, and you've got to think with Frankie Boyle, he's so extreme that like you can pigeonhole him.
It's probably the fact that Frankie Boyle's only going to be preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Mock the Week could change people's minds because it's soft enough.
And in a primetime slot, and not on a Friday night, which Friday night is not primetime in the UK. Not really. After a certain time, Friday night is like you're either in bed or you're out. Like it's definitely not a primetime slot. Saturday, maybe. Saturday 9 o'clock, possibly, because
Saturday is because there was always during the Chibnall years of him moving Doctor Who to a Sunday night. It was like, why have you moved it out of primetime Saturday? I mean, although he moved it into prestige drama night.
True, True.
But
Yeah.
be interesting to see where it's scheduled with when it comes back. Obviously, it's 3 specials first, so it won't have steady schedule until probably 2024. But
Yeah. And obviously 10 inches back, but not necessarily playing. I mean, he's Doctor 14 as opposed to Doctor 11.
Doctor
So, yeah. So
technically
it
Doctor
has this,
10, but 11 because John Hurt.
yeah. But I mean,
Doctor
he
numbers
has,
make no sense anymore.
yeah. But he has, obviously, it's 10 inches face, but not necessarily 10 inches personality.
Well,
So
he's Tennant with the lived-in experience of Smith,
yeah,
Capaldi, and Whittaker, right?
yeah.
Like
So
it's he is about he is a few thousand years older than he was last time he was him. Or
arguably,
maybe we should actually just use they for the Doctor at this point.
Arguably a few billion, because obviously Capaldi's was locked in that
Heaven sent,
that time chamber that was you had to punch out of for like 1 billion years. Like
Doctor Who, it's crazy.
I know. Before we have to go, then I'll just quickly go over a couple of things that I finally caught up on. Stroke rewatched. Rewatched the Batman the other night. I haven't watched a lot of new films this year. I'm trying to catch up.
There's a few good ones on Prime that definitely should be watched.
Definitely. I think as good as they might be, it's going to take something spectacular to topple the Batman for me. It just really, really, really hits
I like
me.
it very much, but obviously less as
yeah.
I think it's roughly at 11 in my list at the moment.
Obviously, James watches a lot of films, so 11 is not a bad number. Like, whereas I unfortunately don't watch anywhere near as many as I.
There's a very big gap between that and every other superhero film I've seen this year.
Yeah. For me, it just hit, and I think rewatching it the other day solidified it. It was one of those films I was a little bit worried that it was a cinema experience that made me feel that way, but no, actually watching it home on a lovely 4K Blu-ray, obviously, was incredible. Since then, I have finally watched Tenet, the last Christopher Nolan film.
I still need to see that.
I loved it. It's Christopher Nolan. If you don't like Christopher Nolan, you won't like it. If you do like Christopher Nolan, you will like it.
I think part of the big issue with Tenet was also how Christopher Nolan was insisting people go risk dying to watch it. Like, that was for...
I think, yeah, obviously that was an issue.
Yeah,
I would 100% say watch it the highest quality you can get access to.
So obviously it became a meme of watching Tenet on the smallest screen possible, didn't it?
Yeah. Because it is beautiful. Like, it's wonderfully. I mean, it's not beautiful. It's quite ugly, but in a well shot, well executed, like
in that Nolan way.
Yeah.
Sterile, I think, is a word you're probably looking for.
I get you. Yeah. It's especially the battle sequences towards the end, where like there are, let's say, people going in different directions. Like, it's incredible to look at. So yeah, I very much enjoyed that. I would say it's his Bond film, and there's many layers to that. Won't go into right now, but yeah, I think that's his Bond film. Obviously, 2 Robert Pattinson films there, back to back. Having watched him in Tenet, if they don't go for a non-white actor in Bond for the next version,
he probably doesn't want to be Batman and Bond.
I would love to see Pattinson. The thing is that I could see Pattinson doing almost exactly his Tenet character, and it being a perfect modern-ish Bond. I could also, because I think they need to really depart from what they've done in the recent 2 versions of Bond, really.
I don't know. I think let's go back to the camp.
I want them to go back to camp. I want Roger Moore. I think.
I love how you're saying the recent two iterations as if Pierce Brosnan's era isn't high camp.
I don't think it is high camp.
I think if you went back and watched them now, they'd feel it.
I mean, it gets more camp. Like, it started as a good, like, the
villain in the final one, despite opening up with ooh, we're torturing James Bond for the first time, is a diamond-encrusted man who lives in a giant ice cube.
Yeah, but it was crap camp, though. That was the thing, wasn't it? It was like, if Snyder directed camp.
Well, it's a bad film.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think its campness is what makes it bad. It's everything.
Fair enough, yeah. But I want full-on Roger Moore, and actually...
They're all on Prime now again, aren't they?
They are. Pattinson's character... character in Tenet could tweak it either direction. I think it's that nice middle point where you could go a bit serious or you could go full Roger Moore with it. And when you watch it, I think if they don't go for a non-white actor, Robert Pattinson, go full Roger Moore on it. That's what I want. And the final film I've watched recently to catch up on is Godzilla vs. Kong. Monkey bash big lizard boy, as you put it last night. And yeah, what a film!
It's fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like they knew exactly what they were making there.
It's I think my second favourite of the four.
I don't know.
Skull Island, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla, King of Monsters for me.
I like all four of them. They're completely different, obviously.
King of Monsters
is
just dull.
I still really enjoyed it. And I think, as four films together as well.
Yeah, I think and
it was great.
Again, there's something different in the almost this landscape we currently, as big budget blockbusters go. We're getting another Japanese Godzilla soon as well.
I hope we get a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. I want to know what's down in the center of the earth. I want to know who built that thing and what have you.
Wasn't it like monkeys? That's
yeah,
Kong
but
is king, right? That's his film room.
It is, but and obviously there's been a hint in that film that the Kongs are intelligent.
I do really like that we went for Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And I like that they obviously team up to fight him, and then it's a good old fight each other, then team up to fight the bigger bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd happily see some more of that.
Which is almost what Black Adam is as well, actually.
Yeah.
That we all fight each other and then we team up to fight the bigger evil.
No, I like. I very much enjoyed that. So give me more. I want some more. Definitely want more of the Batman as well.
Yeah.
Because the Batman was wonderful.
Starting recording again.
Hi guys.
There was a blip there where it may have cut out. I don't know when exactly. I will double check that in a moment. But I think, shall we say goodbye to him now?
I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah.
We were just in the blip. We were just saying what's coming out of the cinema soon. As we alluded to it, we will talk about Star Trek in a separate video. We were going to try and squeeze it into this one and then cut it out.
But we've talked about too much rubbish for too long.
Yeah, but it's been good fun. Spoilers, Lower Decks, still great.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it in detail. I haven't yet seen any Prodigy. I know you have.
I haven't yet.
Catch up on. Oh, I thought you did.
No, I've not seen it yet. It's ready to watch, but I've not seen it.
Fair enough. Yeah. And then we'll talk about that soon. Obviously, a few more films. There's plenty of games to talk about. I've been smashing 2018's God of War. I might go straight into Ragnarok.
I'm tempted to go back and give 2018's God of War another go.
You really should, mate.
Oh, I loved it.
Really,
I loved it.
Oh, man.
Didn't finish it.
I'd mainline it. Although there's plenty of good side stories and stuff like that. Do the side stories that are needed to progress, because there's one or two that
I'd rather do them all.
But I'd I'm having a crack at doing as many of it as I can, including doing the Valkyries.
I won't do like challenges, but I'll do any like side quests. But
Yeah.
on that note, I think shall we say goodbye?
Cool. Yeah. See you soon.
Remember, stay bare. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not a particularly good sign off. We'll think of a better one next time.
Yeah.
Keep
It's all-
growling.
Keep growling. Yeah.
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 That also sounds.
Yeah.
Sounds that just sounds wrong.
I'm sure that's like some sort of dating app.
Yeah.
Growler or something like that. So, like, yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Enjoy good stuff. See you. Bye.